Alright, Wayback Wednesday here. I'm going to be talking about uh, the time I first started listening to the Beatles. Now, honestly, I never heard of the Beatles before this happened. Really, I never really heard of the Beatles before. I might have, but I just never really paid attention, honestly, because before this before this happened, I never really heard of the Beatles. I was in 5th grade. I had to restart 5th grade because I wasn't ready to go to the middle school, so I had to restart 5th grade, and I restarted it in my class in special ed, um, in Rouse's Point Elementary, because I wasn't Moore's, but they didn't have any other special ed classes in Moore's, so I had to go to Rouse's Point Elementary, and this is when I first met my friend Sean. My friend Sean was totally a Beatles fan. He always talked about the Beatles during class. Well, not during class, but like during recess and stuff. And all he did was talk about the Beatles. He'd be like, "Hey, dude, you ever heard of this Beatles song? Hey, dude, you ever heard of this Beatles song?" He'd be like, "My favorite Beatles is like, I think he said George Harrison or something." And I was like, "Dude, what is the Beatles?" I said, he's like, "Dude, you don't know what the Beatles are?" I'm like, "No, dude, I don't really know who the Beatles are." Because at that time, the only songs I really paid attention to were like the pop songs and stuff. Like I know the Beatles are pop, but like the today's pop songs or whatever. No, Beatles are rock and roll. So I was only listening to like the pop songs and stuff, and I really didn't pay attention to the Beatles. But my friend's like, "Dude, you need to listen to the Beatles," he says. I'm like, "Okay, dude." And then I started listening to the Beatles like a couple years after. I didn't really. I started listening to like John Lennon, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney, and the Beatles. And my friend, and I'm like, "Dude, you're the one that got me into the Beatles." He said, "Yep, I know," he says. And like to this day, I like always tell him like, "Dude, thanks for getting me into liking the Beatles." And my favorite Beatle ever is John Lennon, because he's like one of my favorite middle school heroes ever. And like if it wasn't for my friend Sean, I probably would have never. Well, I probably would have heard of the Beatles, but like it wouldn't have been like a throwback. It wouldn't have been like a really good story, because it would just been, oh, I just listened to the Beatles, you know. But and I wouldn't have met my friend Sean to be friends with him, you know. So thanks to my friend Sean for this Wayback Wednesday story here.